The name of the game this time is Budget, and we're going to be running SKYSTRIKERS. SKYSTRIKERS is a really cute deck where we run two girls who go into their special armor, which is the Link 1s, and they all have unique effects. And by the way, the art is amazing for all of them. And the deck is fairly low budget. By that I mean, you don't really have to craft that many cards. Is there a way to play this deck without crafting cards? Yes, but it's not going to be good. The cards you're going to need to craft are 5 to 7 super rares and 3 to 4 ultra rares. There is a card that you don't need to run, Terraforming. You can easily replace this with a Mystical Space Typhoon or any card that you want of your choice. And the extra deck, although it has 3 copies of this specific link, you can just cut that down to 1 if you're not willing to craft more copies. This is going to be a replay I'm actually really proud of because the deck we're versing is really cool. Now the guy's going to use pre-preparation of Raye to search out a ritual spell and a ritual monster, and straight off the gate we're going to see he searched out the level 4 ritual Dogmatica. Now I didn't really know much about them going into this, besides they send stuff from the extra deck, but still Dogmatica is a really good archetype, so I want to see all the things he can do. He's going to bring out the ritual 8 Dogmatica, which pretty much if I do anything he can look at my extra deck, send 1 card from it. So I top deck Lightning Storm. I'm like, okay, well, I can't really destroy his ritual, which is what I want to do, so I'll just destroy his spell or trap. It was Dogmatica Punishment, so he doesn't really have a counterplay against me. He's going to chain his ritual, which is going to send a monster from my extra deck to the graveyard, and I'm like, nah, you know what, I'm just going to do this, negate his effect, and we're going to go into Spark Cannon, banish the card in his graveyard, and then the most powerful SKYSTRIKER card in the entire deck, if you have this in your opening hand, it just searches you out any SKYSTRIKER, which doesn't really sound strong, a lot of decks have that, but it has a bonus effect where if you have 3 spells in your graveyard or more, you can draw an extra card. So essentially you search and draw, it's like a super Pot of Greed. We're going to go into this guy. This Link can attack directly. The reason we're doing this is because we want to send a card from our deck to the graveyard, and then we can just link her off and then go into another Link. I don't really know that many decks I can just link off and go into links like this, like repeatedly, so it's really cool. Dogmaticas have a special card where if I think if I special summon from the extra deck, they can special summon this guy, who's kind of like their boss monster. He can negate my monster's effect, doesn't really matter, link it off, go into another link. And his Dogmatica monster actually has a good field presence, but it's not going to really matter because Pot of Avarice is going to shuffle everything in our graveyard. That's the reason we just keep summoning links, because we run Pot of Avarice, which is surprisingly free to play. And we draw 2, so essentially Pot of Greed, we reshuffle everything back into our extra deck and we get our plays going. During the end phase, we have this extremely powerful card. If you're familiar with a card called Spellbook of Judgment, where at the end phase you can add a bunch of cards, this is essentially Spellbook of Judgment, except every card that you activated, you can just reset it, so you can just use it again. Insanely powerful. He's going to bring out both of his Dogmatica rituals. One of them is his level 8 Dogmaticas cannot be destroyed by battle, which is actually really useful. And then the other one is he can look at my extra deck and just send a card from it to the graveyard. And he's just popping off. He's going full offense right now. He's searching. He's getting everything he needs. He ends up popping the Spell Striker called Multirole. So like I can't get my cards back from the graveyard if I activate. And he sends a lot of cards from my extra deck to the graveyard. Not a really big deal because we have a Pot of Avarice set. And what I'm hoping right here is that as long as he doesn't destroy the Pot of Avarice, next turn I'm going to be able to shuffle back everything that he sends, draw 2 cards, and pop off. And I end up stealing his monster just because I'm like, well, I don't want to lose the game, you know? So, it's my turn, and let's see what happens. We have an Afterburner in our hand, which lets us destroy 1 monster on the field, and I'm like, I guess I'll destroy the ritual. And we search out a SKYSTRIKER card, because they're all warriors, and Roze's free to play, so it's an amazing card in this deck. Engage is going to let us search out a card from our deck. We search out another Afterburner and we draw a card. What is the card we draw? Engage. So now we get to search out another Afterburner and we get to draw another card. Sadly, the card we draw isn't a spell, so we can't really use it. It's a monster. And we go into our links. So first off, we're going to always bring out this link because we run Pot of Avarice in this deck and we want to fill up the graveyard as much as we can. Even if that monster doesn't really do anything, the reason we summon it out is just for fodder in the graveyard. We're going to attack directly, because that effect's just really good. Send one of the monsters from our deck to the graveyard, just because we want it out of the deck. And Pot of Avarice. Shuffle everything, every link that I want back into the extra deck, draw 2 cards. And now we're going to go into Kagagari, which lets us add a card from our graveyard back to our hand. We're adding Engage. Engage is not once per turn. We're going to add another card and draw another card. Insane. We're able to set 4 cards in our back row, and we're going to end on Shiziku, who's going to let us add a card from our deck to our hand. We're going to add Jamming Waves, which lets us destroy a set card, and then if we destroy a set card and we have 3 or more spells, we can destroy a monster. Non-targeting, by the way. Insanely powerful. He's get a ritual summon because that allows him to ritual summon from his graveyard. Insanely powerful. I think the only ritual spell I've ever seen do that is Vendrill. And his ritual is no joke, I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, it only has 1,500 attack right now, but he like gets to look at my extra deck and send whatever he wants. I don't really want him to do that, so I'm gonna have to bait him out as much as I can. I'm gonna use Jamming Waves, target destroy my own field spell that I set, and I'm just gonna destroy his ritual. He didn't chain it. He's gonna chain Ash Blossom to my field so I don't get an additional monster. Not a big deal, don't really care. Now we're just gonna link off into the one that can attack directly, and I'm just thinking here like, what should I do? I'll just attack directly for game, because for some reason the Dogmaticas have this special line of text that says cannot be destroyed by battle with monsters special summon from the extra deck. So I'm not gonna be able to destroy them unless I like figure out some way to destroy them without the extra deck monsters. Nadir Servant is really powerful. That was a great top deck on his part. The only thing is I have Ash Blossom, so Ash Blossom, negate. He's going to attack me. Forbidden Droplets is going to discard a monster in my hand, which doesn't really do anything. Lower his monster's attack, and its effects are negated. And I get to choose to send a monster from my deck to the graveyard, which is nice. It's just deck thinning, so I hope I don't draw a monster. And let's see what I draw. Here we go. Oh, a field spell. In this situation, I could use it to special summon a monster. I could use it to search out a spell, but I think what I'm going to end up doing is just creating 2 of the link monsters that can attack directly. Boom, boom. That's game. Let's jump to the deck profile. I'll be explaining all the card choices, every card that's free to play, and yeah, I really hope you like the video. And if you like it, leave a like. Let's jump to the deck profile. So I've been making a lot of these free to play deck profiles because I've been getting a lot of comments from you guys saying that you like these kind of things, and I honestly like free to play too. I mean, I'm a broke boy. I don't have all the money to spend on every single card in the game, so I want to make the best decks for the cheapest possible. So we have the bundles. I'm going to be going over them completely together. So we have Ash Blossom, we have Droplet, Infinite Imperm, we have Solemn Judgment, we have Lightning Storm. You get these from the bundles. The bundles are 750 each, and they're really worth it. You get these specific cards, which are really good, and you get 10 packs out of the like Master Duel pack, so you can get like any random cards in there. Highly recommend you picking them up. They just make your decks better. Besides that, another free to play card we have is Pot of Avarice. This comes in the Recontact Universe Structure Deck, aka Utopia Structure Deck. If you don't own the Utopia Structure Deck, I believe it's like 1,500 gems. You do get some really good cards there if you ever want to play like a fun Utopia rank 4 deck. I highly recommend it. Besides that, I mean, I bought it because I buy all the structure decks because they come with very good generic cards. Pot of Avarice is one of them. And if you haven't played story missions yet, Raigeki, Monster Reborn, Reinforcement of the Army. Raigeki, Monster Reborn are from the first 2 missions of the game. Yeah, the first 2 solo missions. You don't have to go that far in. I think Reinforcement of the Army is like the 4th mission, so you have to play a little bit more. And Terraforming is in here just because I really like the card. You don't need to play it. You don't want to craft Terraforming, even though it's good in other decks as well. Don't worry about it. Run another MST. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Trust me. You can even run like Book of Moon or anything, like any powerful spell. Essentially, you can run it. The choice is yours. Now, can you play this deck without Engage? Yeah, you can. It's not going to be as good though. Engage is the best card in the deck. So I highly recommend. You should at least work up to craft 2 Engage just because the card is really good. Afterburner at 3. I like Afterburner. Destroys a monster. As you saw in the gameplay, I was able to pop 3 of his monsters with this one card. Following up, we have Jamming Wave, good against cards that set a lot of back row, which there are a lot of decks that do that, like Floodgate decks. And then we can also destroy a monster if we want. So we have like interchangeable options. I really like that. The field spell is really good because not only does it let you like look at the top 3 cards of your deck and you add one to your hand, although you do lose a card whatever you like target gets sent to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you get a special summon a SKYSTRIKER directly from your deck. So it's kind of like a searcher for SKYSTRIKERs, which I really do like. This card is insane. This is like Spellbook of Judgment, which essentially lets you like add a bunch of cards during the end phase, except this one you get to set them back. It works really good with the field spell. You can target the field spell, send it to the graveyard, get your free monster and get your plays going. You can only run 1 copy of this card. It allows you to special summon a token. It's pretty good. I never used it in like any of the duels that I played, but I like having it in there just because it is a good option. Widowmaker or Widow Anchor, extremely powerful card. Negate a monster effect. Although negating monster effects is good. Let's be honest. You know what's better? Taking their monster. Yeah, we're taking his monster. Only until the end of the phase, but what, like, dude, like that's good. That's game ending right there. This is another SKYSTRIKER card. It's called Ego Boost. It just protects your monsters from card effects. The other one is like a weak Called by the Grave. You target a monster in your opponent's graveyard, you banish it. Yeah, it doesn't negate the effect, but if you have 3 or more in your graveyard, you can just special summon whatever you target in their graveyard. So, I mean, another body, you can go into a big link. Speaking of big links, we're not really running expensive links in the extra deck. Reason why we're not running Access Code Talker, Nightmare Unicorn, Nightmare Phoenix, like these big monsters, is because they're expensive, bro. This is free to play. So what I'm doing is just putting normal and rares in the extra deck. These are generic normal and rares. All the cards will be in the description below. I know I didn't talk about the monsters. I'll talk about them real quick. SKYSTRIKER, Ace, Raye. This is the main one. The good part about this effect is it's quick effect. Even though you can link off like normally, if your opponent like changed something to it, quick effect, tribute it, and just link off anyways. So it's kind of good in that aspect. Also, if any of your link monsters like leave the field, you can just special summon this back from the graveyard, and then like you just do that every single turn. It's annoying to deal with. Let's be honest. The monster that comes back every single turn, OP. The other one is I want to say the weaker one. SKYSTRIKER Ace Roze. If you summon a SKYSTRIKER Ace, so any of the SKYSTRIKER links or the monsters, you could just special summon from your hand. This card's not that good because SKYSTRIKERs kind of have the clause where you have to have nothing in your main monster zone in order to activate these powerful cards. And when you have 2 SKYSTRIKERs on the field, you have a monster in your main monster zone. So you're forced to go into SKYSTRIKER Ace Zeki, which I mean you don't really want to go into. I mean it's okay card. It's not that good. I'm not gonna lie, it's not that good. But yeah, it also has an effect where if it's in the graveyard and your extra deck monster dies, you could just special summon this back. That's a good effect. But besides that, I don't really like this card. Definitely Raye is the 1,000,000,000% best card. Extra deck is pretty simple. You need Kakagari. It's the best link monster, that's why it's at 1. It allows you to add a spell from your graveyard to your hand. This card, Shizuku, is really good too. I mean, all the link monsters are pretty good in my opinion. This one's one of the more better ones. It lets you add a spell from your deck to your hand as long as it doesn't have the same name as a card in your graveyard. And then one of my favorite, Hayate, it just allows you to attack directly, and then you get to send like Foolish Burial SKYSTRIKER card from your deck to the graveyard. And then Kaina is, a lot of people don't run her. I run her because we run Pot of Avarice and we want to fill up the graveyard as much as we can. This monster is usually just made to stop an opponent's monster from attacking, and then we just link it off because we want it in the graveyard just to use Pot of Avarice more effectively. And the final one, Zeki, requires 2 SKYSTRIKER monsters, or 2 monsters including 1 SKYSTRIKER monster, and we can banish a monster on the field until our opponent's next end phase. A pretty powerful effect, and then we can just boost its attack by 1,000. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. You can check out all the new content I'm going to be making, but besides that, hope you have a great day. See ya.